Welcome everyone to another day of VCS action. We are still in week 5. This is now the last day of the week, and especially in the first series, we'll see a very important matchup looking at the playoffs. Whoever loses this first best of 3 today is almost out of playoff contention. I'll hone in on that statement a little bit more later on. I'm Yulwei, as always, your color caster, and at the moment, sadly alone, because my co-caster every day has some problems once again with the internet. So I hope he can join us a little bit later on, but for now, they have to be listening just to me. And look at the standings here. We now will look at EVOS versus QTV Gaming, so 5th versus 6th. We only give 4 spots for the players and world contention as well. So both teams are right now out of world contention, out of players. They need at least, I'd say, 4 more victories in the 5 games we play to reach players. Maybe 3 is enough, but you'd like to see 8 wins in the win column to really have a chance at reaching playoffs. And there's a big problem for QTB here, because they lost in the first round robin to EVOS 0-2. So if they lose today, head to head will go in favor of EVOS, and that means QG not only is behind in terms of serious score compared to EVOS and all the playoff teams, but also if they tie EVOS, they can't overtake them. So it's a very important series for both teams, even more important for the side of QTV. Looking ahead, we will probably see GAM win the series that comes after this one. So this afternoon they play against Cerberus, and that should be a very easy 2-0 for GAM. So then we look at the 4-way tie for first place at 7-3. Whoever wins this series is at 5-5, so 2 series behind, which means in the 2 remaining weeks where everyone plays 4 more series, they would need at least 3 wins and one of the top teams to lose at least 3 times as well. Looking at the schedule, there is, especially if QG wins today, there's definitely room for improvement. Especially Low-Key has a very hard schedule ahead of them. They play against a lot of the top teams still. They have to play against EVOS and QG in the next 2 weeks. I think they also still have the match against Flash. So especially Low-Key, maybe the weakest of our 4 top teams right now, could be caught by either of these teams today. But yeah, there's a lot of playoff implication going on with this match, and a very important one heading into the peak and bans. Both teams come of a loss this week already. EVOS with a very disappointing loss against DBL 1 and 2 should have been able to close out the series, especially after what Razor did in game 3. You can see a highlight of that in our highlight clips here at the channel. That was egregious. They still managed to lose the game somehow. QG on the other side also already lost the best of 3 this week, so both are coming in with on a little bit of a loss streak. But one, the new top laner for the side of EVOS, has not really shown us too much so far, but Hero had an absolutely horrible week so far after being one of our standout players last week. This week he got trashed in the top lane, you have to say this harshly. It almost looked like Neven was back in. He fed a lot. So let's see if Hero can recover and if Bud1 can improve on his prior performances here in the first game. Looking at the bans, with Kiana banned against Genza, he has played 3 Kiana games. He's the player in the VCS with the most Kiana experience. That being said, I don't actually like Kiana for QTV that much, because they are a very strong mid-game team. They are a very good team fighting team, I should say. So Kiana does not really fit their style of play. Genza is still a good Kiana player, and EVOS has subbed Xon back in. They had Kakon in the last game they played in the jungle. He had a very good jungle game, but obviously Xon is still the linchpin of this team, so he's back in and will be piloting the Sejuani in game 1. answered by Yumi. We could look for something like Kalista. Kalista Yumi is not a good combination. Yeah, Lucian was the other one I was thinking about. Jisoo is very famous for his Kalista. That's why I thought about Kalista, but obviously Kalista Yumi is not something you want to play. That's anti-synergy right there. Lucian Yumi we've seen a lot of, and many good teams go back to Lucian Yumi. It's one of the favorite lanes for especially Yulwei. Yulwei is likes to play the Lucian a lot as well. He has played 6 games on the Lucian, so this is his premier champ. Jisoo is still very good on him as well, so it's a counter pick, not a pick away from Yulwei, I should say. And on top of that, a very strong lane. I like this drafting approach from QG. And on the other side, we now get to see one of the most obnoxious bot lanes, maybe. But it seems like Yulwei wants to go for a little bit more safety, a little bit more mid-game power with the Ezreal Lux, very old bot lane, and should actually be a little weaker in the 2v2 department compared to the Lucian Yumi, so might struggle early on a little bit. Seal with the Olaf. He's one of our Olaf players. This is now a 3rd Olaf game if he locks this one in. Zorn, on the other hand, has also played 2 Olaf games, even though he does not really strike me as an Olaf player. But yeah, Olaf has been kind of middling in terms of priority. Some teams like to pick him up. Meliodas, for example, likes to play the Olaf. DNK is a good Olaf as well. So there's some Olaf players over here. But he's definitely not super high priority. He's not first pick worthy or first rotation worthy. Rounding out the comp with an Olaf here in the first half of the draft would mean they need some more strong solo laners, especially for hero. I would say Genza will probably just handshake lane. Most mid lane matchups right now are not really exploitable. And with his assassin band away, he'll probably just go for something like Corki, Azir, Syndra, stuff like that. So I think the big focus for the draft on QTV side right now is hero. Secure a good matchup for hero and look for invades on the Olaf side and maybe even 2v2 kills in the top lane. On the other side for EVOS, what are they looking at? Very strong foundation for their team comp as well. Very solid, a lot of potential, good scaling with the Sejuani especially, and Lux on this patch, obviously still one of the strongest late game supports as well. Ezreal can slot in wherever he wants, maybe not the highest DPS, but still good scaling as well, especially if he goes for the AP build later on with the Luden's Echo. Now, 2 top laners banned against hero. I like this approach a lot. Those are not the top laners I would have banned, because those are not priority top laners. A little bit weird to ban out Vladimir in an Olaf comp, because you don't want to pair Vladimir with Olaf, really. You don't want to have top lane priority for the Olaf, so this is a strange read. By the way, there is a substitution for EVOS. I have actually not paid too much attention to the bot lane of EVOS in terms of player names, but yeah, there's a new support coming in. It's High, paired up with Yulwei, so B-Up is out, and Yulwei and High will be piloting Ezreal and Lux in this game, so it's a very standard bot lane. We'll have to see how this new support player can fit in for EVOS. They are still struggling to find a good working lineup, have subbed in and out a lot of top laners. Now they'll try a new support as well. I really like the Renekton pick on the side of EVOS as well, because I think that's top lane priority. That's exactly what QTV does not want to give up. And looks like QG rounds out their comp with a Corki, very standard. Corki into Nico. There's not a whole lot happening in that line, so as I said, this Olaf will now, might struggle a little bit to actually do a whole lot in the early game. Top lane, Prio goes over to Bud 1 on the Renekton, and Corki against Nico is not something you can really try to exploit as an Olaf, so he might look at bot lane. And if they are able to dodge the Qs from Lux, there's some kill potential in my opinion to go on the Lux. Try to look for kills in the 3v2. But overall, maybe not the strongest Olaf draft I've ever seen out of QG, and EVOS with a well-rounded composition, strong lanes, and very good scaling as well. But one is probably the bridging champion here on the Renekton. We have seen an on Renekton against Rezo, against DBL, and that one was a little bit ugly. He absolutely murdered Rezo in the early game. Rezo messed up his wave management and gave him a perma-freeze that resulted into But1 collecting, I think, 40, 50 CS unanswered, and he got ahead by 2 or 3 levels. But then But1 refused to play aggressively and refused to attempt tower dice on the very weak Rezo. That delayed the game a lot, and in the end, DBL was able to come back, use their strong bot lane to win the game anyway, so that was not the greatest showing from But1 ever. I hope he improves and goes for a little bit more of an aggressive mindset to close out the game more efficiently. Last time these two teams met, we didn't really have a clear picture of QG. They looked like a middle of the pack, maybe bottom of the pack team, only beating the weaker teams. And EVOS was still, we still kind of thought EVOS was maybe in playoff contention, maybe one of our top teams, considering they were the top 2 team in spring. Right now they're on exactly the same record, so we don't really have the same thoughts going on into the match. There's still an advantage for EVOS because they won the first best of 3, I should say, between these two teams. They are sitting at an 11-11 game record with a game time of 32 minutes and 31 seconds. QG very similarly sit at 10-11, so one less game won, and also at 32 minutes and 38 seconds, so the game time is almost identical. We will expect the game to go slightly over 30 minutes, which usually probably favors QG, because they have a very strong macro mid-game team, but if EVOS is able to get off to a good lead, they should be able to close it out as well. And the first few points of action in this game, we can probably focus our screen on the Olaf, because Sidrani will only just farm. Lanes are not that volatile to really go for outplays, in my opinion at least. Especially mid lane will be just stale. Farm fest, top lane, there's not a whole lot Hero can do against But1. Maybe But1 can look for a good all-in with a level 2 against level 1 advantage. That was an interesting interaction there. They tried to go for the very strong level 1 trades from the Lux, but in the end nothing landed, so they have to go back. And this is another non-Aftershock Lux. We've seen many Luxes go with this special rune choice into the Yuumi, because there's no chance of landing a CC, or the light binding I should say, on the support. So Aftershock and lane is actually completely useless for the Lux. This is a lane rune choice with the Guardian coming in as the typical rune into the Yuumi. But it means that in the late game, this Lux will be a very easy target to one-shot, because he doesn't have extra resistances, only a little bit of a shield. I'm personally not the biggest fan of this adaptation. I don't really think you need the Guardian to do a lot in lane. Lux should be fine anyway. And only picking this Guardian for a lane is a little bit risky, especially looking at the enemy team with an Olaf that can just probably 3-4 shot the Lux in the later stages of the game, and Lux can't really defend against Olaf. Light Binding obviously not the most effective spell against someone who can CC immune. So we'll have to see how high plays this one out in the later stages of the game. Early game, this is definitely, not probably, the stronger option and gives him an advantage in lane. Early jungle cleared, seems to be very even. Olaf has secured his buffs a little bit more quickly and goes for the early scuttle crab, and very good ping coming out from EVOS. They expect him to be on the scuttle crab, so perfect scouting coming in from EVOS. They know exactly where the Olaf is. They even predict the invade here. Oh, they actually had a ward, so never mind me. They just had the information, not the probably he's there ping. but he's definitely here ping. Now he will steal away one of the most valuable camps. No, he actually does not go for it. That's an interesting move for the Olaf. Okay, I would have expected him to go for the Crux to steal them away, but now Sorn is here in the top lane. Hero, did he have to flash? Not too sure. I think Hero could have gotten out without a flash, but better safe than sorry, right? So he uses his flash to get away. Now he has to be a little bit careful. He waits long enough for Swan to port away, so now Hero needs to play this matchup even more carefully, even more defensively. This is now a very good dive opportunity actually for EVOS, because they can definitely revisit this one, maybe even invest a little bit of time from DR1 into an early kill on the top lane and get BOT1 going. A little bit confused what Seal is doing here. He has cleared out his bot side jungle, and now he tries to go for a mid lane gank, but against the Nico without harsh CC, I don't see this gank happening. So just go for the Crux steal. I'm a little bit confused. He does not want to go to steal away the Crux. Wasted a lot of time just running around in the mid lane. And is still even in CS, but at least he now has priority over Dragon, and this will be a very nice early Ocean Drake for QG. Olaf, one of the best champs to solo the Dragon very early on. They are spotted on the Dragon, so Lux or Ezreal could look for a steal, and even Sejuani is approaching. This one will actually be a little bit dicey, and we might see an early fight. Smite comes down for Seal, and Thorn has to flash out of the pit. Very greedy contest from Thorn without botlane priority. Ezreal showed no signs of moving. He wanted to go for his minions, so this was just a steal attempt. Thorn needed to flash out of there. So now no flash Q top lane gank more available anymore. That's a little bit different. Yeah, that's a little bit sad for EVOS. That was a very good opportunity. Look at this pink ward. Ooh, that's a lot of value. If he lives for a few more minutes, I'll name him, because this pink ward here might be active for a long time. Bot lane is still very even. We have not seen a kill, and this one is a very slow early laning phase, because as I said in Champion Select, there's not a whole lot of volatile matchups happening. Top lane is the only one where some kill potential is with the Crocodile at level 6 especially. So now Hero has to be extra careful, and there it is. Gank coming in, DR1 is here, flash, and very easy kill on Hero. He didn't have his flash available from earlier on. What happened to the TP? That was interesting. Wait, Thorn cancels Genza's TP. Why would he do that? That's such a weird cancel. We see way too many cancels. They should definitely have let him take the TP and deny a few waves in the mid lane, because he would have had to fly back to mid lane. A little bit of weird cancel there for Thorn. In the end, will not really matter. They get the TP out of Genza, so now he can't TP back to lane. They might be able to push him out of lane and get an early plating in the mid lane, and they get the kill on the mid laner for the top lane gank. So DR1 a very good position right now. This is a matchup where he can't really do anything in lane, even if he gets a kill. So they now need to transfer the kill lead in the mid lane into actual objectives. Maybe revisit top lane. He still does not have his flash available. You still have flash on your Crocodile. Should be a very easy kill. Once again on Hero. At least for 1 more minute. Even, well, 1.5 more minutes. Looking at the flash timer. A little bit of ward coverage coming in for Hero though. So he might be able to spot out the next gank. But there's actually a path where he will not be able to react if DR1 enters the enemy jungle and runs through the enemy jungle. Even though there's a pink ward in the try, that will not be enough time for Hero to react, especially if he tries to contest this slight freeze from BOT1. Yeah, Hero in a lot of trouble. And Corki picks up the package, so he can now follow, but look at that one. Ezreal is just dead. What happened to the Ezreal? Lux roamed away, and Ezreal was caught a little bit sleeping. He used his flash and he TP'd back to lane just before that, so a very, very good time for QG, because they deny even more minions and almost get plating as well. Sorn has to come to the rescue in the bot lane. Ooh, very nicely done. They actually let the plating fall down so that no gold will go over to QG. I really like this move from EVOS, but they still get the kill. It's on Olaf, so you really like this first kill for the side of QG. And 1-for-1, very even in gold still. I hope we get a replay on the Ezreal, because I was not ready for the Ezreal to go down. We cut there very, very abruptly, and I did not really catch the kill. Hero tries to turn this one around, and look at the healing from Aatrox. He's a disgusting champion. It's once again Conqueror on the Aatrox. I really am not a fan of Conqueror on Aatrox. I've talked about that a lot. I think into Renekton it's an okay choice. You'll lose hold the thought, another engage on Genza, and he's just dead. Seal is here, and Zodiac is here as well. They try to go on DR1, but Seal is actually... Wow, he gets sniped out, and now another kill. Free on Zodiac. Now that was a little bit unnecessary high. You don't have to take the kill away. Fair enough. Nice snipe from him anyway, and now DR1 will get the solo plating gold in the mid lane, so he's not too mad that the kill was not going over to him. Very nice snipe from the Ezreal, and a huge overcommitment from Seal. I am not quite sure what he thought was going on there, because he's a level 6 Olaf. He's not as tanky. Look at this one again. Genza gets caught and immediately bursted down. He's not able to contribute any damage. There's absolutely zero damage coming out of the Corki. Now a super well positioned Ezreal ult, and this is just the cat 2-for-1 special we always see with the Yuumi. 3 kills over to EVOS, and they are off to the first big advantage in the game. 2k at 10 minutes. Already looking very strong. 202 Super Soaker completed for DR1. So he is now very annoying to deal with for Genza. Genza is still working on his Trinity Force right now. Trades are very favorable for DR1. He can just push out the wave all the time, utilizing his active as well as just his natural wave clear on the champion. And with a very strong center of the map for EVOS, they can extend the lead into either side lane. I think there's still some solo kill potential in the top lane even. Hero now with his flash available though, so he at least has one escape. But if EVOS's jungler or even mid laner just goes top and uses their ult to lock down Hero, I don't think the flash would do too much, especially considering Renekton has his flash available. So Hero still needs to be careful. He's actually been able to farm out most of the minions and is farming evenly almost with but one. It's a very good sign for QG's mid game. But they still need to come back from this huge blunder in the mid lane. This Lucian also goes for the kind of old build, not the full crit build we see sometimes. This is more of the lane focused. One item power spike into then later game scaling into the Essence Reaver. So this Lucian will need a while to dominate teamfights in terms of TPS, but he will be very strong with the one item. Sadly, this back timing now hurt QG a lot, and Olaf is also not really there to contest the dragon. He tries to. Oh, and Lucian has DP, so EVOS needs to call off the play. This might be another fight. There's still a big advantage for the mid lane department. For EVOS, this fight is dangerous. Corki does not really have a whole lot of damage right now, and we see QG disengage again. EVOS could start the dragon once more. It's still a little dangerous, and they don't want the dragon to be stolen away. It's not really worth it to risk the 50-50 dragon. They would like to engage in a fight and then just go for a very secure Infernal Drake. So probably not see EVOS start up the dragon once again. Instead, Seal looks like he wants to fancy his chances, but in the end, he disengages again. This dragon is a little bit of a game of chicken right now. Whoever starts the fight will probably lose it, so no team is willing to fully commit to the dragon. And with both mid laners back in place, we might see a full 5v5 with TPs from top laners available. QG is way faster on the Dragon, but Sorn is here, so this might be a full 50-50. The fight comes down and high goes... Yeah, this is not Aftershock Lux, so she goes down and Dia1 with a very bad ult this time, does not catch anyone, and the second Dragon of the game goes over to QG, in a point where EVOS had the stronger map position and the stronger power spikes as well. Very sloppy play from EVOS. They should have been able to prevent this Baron from happening. We have to see what happened to Hai exactly. He just got caught out, I think, by Yuumi ult, and without his Aftershock, he was not tanky enough to wait for reinforcements, so he just goes down. A kill and the Dragon, pretty much for free, over to QG. They are still behind in gold, but with the Infernal Drake, the scaling should be even again. Look at this, Hai just gets caught by Yuumi, completely unaware of where she was coming from. Pretty bad play for Hai. First game on stage this season for EVOS, this new support player. That didn't look too great there, but it's only one play, so we'll give him a little bit of, we cut him a little bit of slack. Let's see what he does for the rest of the game. Next Dragon once again will be Infernal. This one EVOS really needs to fight for. Trinity is now there for the Corki though, so the fight will not be as easy if you just look at the item timings. Super Soaker was completed, so the immediate strength is not really growing for DR1 anymore. He has now completed more CDR and a little bit more AP, obviously, but the big item power spike difference was there last Dragon and will not be there in the next one. So he lost a lot of very good timing to accelerate the game. But at least they now want to go for one free turret. Sorn on the Sejuani is a very good champ to solo the Rift Herald. They don't really need to reinforce the things there. I think they overcommit a little bit right now to the Rift Herald, because there are no turret platings available anymore. Rift Herald has lost a lot of its value. They're still able to secure this one and might look for an early mid tower. DR1 was able to push down one plating, so the turret is sitting at 80% HP. Rift Herald is not enough to fully push the turret. As we see QG approach the bot lane, they want to raise the Rift Herald in terms of early turret, and Sorn comes bot to reinforce his team here. Might look for another fight. Initiative is this QG right now. They have the Yuumi and Olaf to run them down. This is actually super dangerous. They can just go for the fight. They want to go for the turret. And Sorn took a little bit of a weird path. Ult is not really that valuable against an Olaf. It's just an ult trade. So obviously Sorn does not want to just trade ults. His ult is way more impactful in the team fights. As DR1 tries to punish Genza with his slows, but Genza is too mobile, and Genza is in a very good spot right now. 190 CS at 17 minutes, very good farm, and he begins to scale into the later stages of the game. Obviously, Corki still needs a few items to really be the late game menace he often becomes, but Hero gets caught out, and now Genza is here. Another flash ult from DR1. This should be a very easy kill. He got one, secures. Whoa, flash, follow flashes on Genza to land the second part of the flail. Genza has to flash away. Flash traded jungler for mid lane. Most of the time a good trade, and as both champs have mobility spell as well, might be an okay trade to take. I actually think a flash on the Sejuani is pretty valuable in the mid game. She can look for Q flash plays and get a lot of value and a lot of CC. Unpredicted CC is very strong. But it's okay to take out the flash from the Corki as well. So now 2 turrets traded for 2 turrets. Map completely split up. Top side belongs to EVOS, bot side belongs to QG. And the game has actually gotten back to a very more close state. QG has weathered the storm after the initial blunder in the mid lane. Still behind in gold, but as I said earlier, with the Infernal Drake scaling and their overall scaling advantage, looking at double ADC comp and an Aatrox on the top lane, They're completely fine right now, and EVOS needs to find more plays to accelerate this game. They went for the very early game oriented Spear of Shojin Renekton build, so he once again should be able to pressure the side lanes and look for solo kills. Does not really make sense to pick Renekton and go for the aggro Renekton build if you're not willing to take the fights against Hero. He has even gone for the Executioner's Calling, so I want to see Bud1 try, at least this time, to go for solo kills. But first, let's see another dragon go down. QG this time is not really in position to contest. Seal wants to steal away the dragon. Not able to do so. Flashes in, so now without ult and flash. Still ult running though, so he can go out. Very big heal from Zodiac as well to top him off. Back to 1000 HP roughly. So he's out of the fight, but one Infernal Drake over to EVOS. So the scaling advantage in terms of dragons is now nullified, and EVOS very happy to get this second Infernal Drake. Next one will be Cloud, so not that as high a priority dragon. Will go to whoever is in position to take the dragon at the time. But now the biggest disadvantage has been equalized on the side of EVOS. They can slowly approach the rest of the game. As you see, Bud1 looking for a flank. Seal is actually very vulnerable right now without his ultimate or flash available, so he has to run away. And I'd like to see Bud1 go for the bot lane. I'm not quite sure why they sent him to the top lane. There's no turret really for him up to take there in the top lane. A little bit of a weird choice. I'd like to see the split pusher go to the lane with more turrets available. Right now he's just sitting there mindlessly pushing waves. That's not what an Renekton really wants to do. He can't pressure the inhibitor turret at 20 minutes. There's not enough pressure on the map from the other members of his team to really open up the inhibitor push. And now they reset and send the Renekton down bot. So nice read from EVOS. I like this one. This Renekton should slowly be able to whittle down turret after turret in the bot lane, and then get even more immediate gold on him to pressure the 1v1 matchup. And yeah, I really want to see Bud1 go for solo kills, because last time he played the Renekton, he got ahead even farther and was not able to do anything with the lead. In the end, EVOS lost the game. They still had 1k, but it's only 1k now. They had 2k early on. They still had 3 kills, so it was pretty much only objective gold going over to QG, farm and objective gold. QG with a very good heads up tower trade accelerated the gold, which is good if you're behind. And they are very comfortably scaling in this game. EVOS still has the honors of making something happen. Usually we say the Olaf has to make something happen, but in this game he's more of a bridging pick, and even if he does not succeed, there's still Corki, Aatrox, Lucian with crit, and the Yuumi to scale into the late game. So Olaf will probably just be a suicide machine in the later stages of the game, run into the backline, try to get on top of the enemy support probably, and let your backline bring the damage to deal with the front line. As Jisoo just goes down, so another kill for EVOS, and now Genza is here. Has to be very careful as he gets caught out and will probably go down in Dia1 with another very good flash ult. Seal and Zodiac in a lot of trouble. Zodiac gets away. Hero is here. Oh no, Zodiac actually dies. And another big fight for EVOS as they immediately eye the Baron after killing 4 members of the enemy team. Jungler is down, no flash available. Only Hero is here to save the day. If he's able to do so, he would be very aptly named, but I don't think he will really even try to contest the Baron. So the first really big fight and the opening of the game will go over to EVOS, ahead by 5k after this Baron goes down. So they finally found the acceleration they needed against the very strong scaling comp of QG. And once again, a very big misplay from QG, getting caught under turret in the mid lane with Hero not there. Hope we get another replay to see who initially got caught. I think it was mainly on Jisoo. I'm not quite sure what Jisoo did there. Has this flash available, so had to be an ambushed CC train coming on him. Let's see this one again, hopefully. And look at this Nico. This is a very strong mid-game Nico. 24 minutes into the game, 3 completed items, 3 successful flash ults already this game. So very, very assertive play from DR1. He has not died once, and usually if you flash in with a Nico in teamfights, you kind of bank on going down, because yeah, there's not a whole lot Nico can do to get out of the fight after she flashes in. But this time around, this is a very strong Nico that has not even gone down once. Now has the opportunity to use ult Zhonya's. Very weird interaction in my opinion, because you can't really see the exact timing of the ult damage landing, as the Zhonya's does not display the jump in the air, but there's still the damage and stun coming down from the Nico ult, so this is a very good deceptive Nico ult tool. And EVOS takes this very slowly, no immediate pressure on turrets. They got one bot lane turret, still 1.5 minutes or 1 minute and 40 seconds on the Baron. So they get one more reset. They should probably try to get another turret here. Okay, Lux binding into, well, yeah, that was just a Lux binding. That's really unforgivable on the, yeah, look at this flash. Look at the damage from DR1 as well. Not quite sure if he had two Zhonya's there, but why not? And Zodiac just goes down to 1E and auto attack from the Ezreal, because he's a Yuumi and he only has 400 HP, even if he's half HP. So another free kill over to EVOS. Not acceptable to get light binding there from Jisoo. You have to do something to avoid this CC. Might have cost them the game actually. That's very probable, because now 6k gold lead for EVOS. They still get more standing gold with this Baron. Next Baron will be pretty easy for them. No Mountain Drake, so the Baron speed is not the greatest, but they have a lot of deny tools for the enemy teams. There's no gap closer on Seal either, so once they get the flash out of the Olaf can't really try to steal the Baron. Not the greatest defensive tools around Baron either for QG. They really don't have a whole lot to contest the Baron with. A little bit of AoE damage from QG Genza and from Zodiac as well. But other than that, Hero from over the wall is not that effective, especially from behind. Jisoo with the illusion can only really ult, and you can pretty easily avoid the ult in the Baron pit. Just stand behind the Baron and let the ult damage the Baron as well, so a little bit of assistance from the enemy team. EVOS in the very strong position in this game. Looking ahead, this should be game 1 secured for EVOS, and they can be very happy, because now they are 3-0 in terms of game score over QG. I'm not quite 100% sure how the head-to-head rules will play out in the VCS, but I'd assume even if they lost the series after winning this first game, they would still own the head-to-head, because they won the first series 2-0. So this is already a very good sign for EVOS, but obviously they still need the series win, because they to contest the top 4 teams. This win will already give them a huge advantage over QG, but there's still 4 teams ahead of them and only 4 playoff spots, so they need the series victory to contest the top 4 teams, not so much to fight against QG. EVOS. This game at least has looked way better from EVOS in my opinion. They almost took down DBL on, I think it was Friday, and yeah, that game was, they had no rights losing the game. They were in such a strong position, should have beaten DBL, and if they beat DBL, they would be 6-4 after winning today. So very, very good position, tying up DBL. But in fact, they lost the last game and now are sitting at 4-5. Even if they win this one, it's only 5-5 score, while all the top teams are sitting at 7-3. So there's still a lot to work on for EVOS, but this one is a very good first step. Right now, not a whole lot is happening on the map. That's why, yeah. just thought about what I want to talk about next, because there's not a whole lot to do for QG. They're just farming out waves, trying to defend their inhibitor line. The EVOS will not try to break the inhibitor line before the next Baron spawns, so it's really not a whole lot happening. But one might look for a split push, but to be honest, Renekton at this stage of the game is actually not that great a split pusher. He can threaten the 1-1 kill, and if he gets the kill, he can definitely take down the turret, but he can't really damage the turret while Aatrox is alive. Aatrox has too much AoE to damage the Renekton while hitting the turret, so not the greatest champ in terms of just pure turret pushing. It's not a Camille, you can just obliterate the turrets. But EVOS immediately starts the second Baron, and it's two-man Baron, without the ADC actually. Interesting choice. And look at the dark map for QG. They're not even trying to go for this one. Probably the right choice, because they can't face check into anything. But you also have to ask yourself, can they defend against the next Baron push? The answer is probably no. So it's a lose-lose situation really for QG. And EVOS has established enough map control to get this second Baron pretty much for free. Second Baron most of the time is a pretty easy one. That was a very bad flash W from Bot 1. Please never flash W on an enemy Olaf with ult running. In the end, it will not cost them too much, especially now Seal without ult, without flash, will just be a minion. He's really useless right now. At least Corki is dealing some damage. Third item on the horizon. Once he finishes the third item, he might be able to carry a team fight. They probably need another IE on Jisoo before they can really dream of winning this game. Not enough DPS right now on their hands, and EVOS wants to break the inhibitor line right now with this Baron, as Seal gets caught out. He has a QSS. No, it's Mikael's from the Yumi. So he gets out, and Genza has to be very careful. No way he flashes out of there. Zodiac gets caught. What did Zodiac do there? Why was he exposed? So Cat goes down, free inhibitor. 31 minutes. We are almost at the average timing for both of the teams. 1.5 more minutes for both of them to hit their average game timer. And the game might just end exactly at that timing. Now another team fight, Hero on top of Zorn, and he got the reset, so now this is a good opportunity for QG to look for the fight. But one goes into his GA. This should be very free, very easy kill. Another one goes over. Dia1 in the meantime, Splitter is on top lane. If he gets another inhibitor, absolutely worth for EVOS, and there it is. 2 inhibitors for EVOS. They feed away a few kills, but in the end will not really matter. A few shutdowns over, especially to the ADCs on the side of QG. So they'll hope for a little bit, but they lost too many objectives. 2 inhibitors down, 1 inhibitor turret in the bot lane. So now EVOS owns the whole map. They only have to group up bot lane, push in the wave, and go for the 3rd inhibitor to close out the game. Next Baron will be there in 5 minutes, or 4 minutes I should say. So that's another option. They don't really need the Baron, to be honest, because there's no turret anymore. So Baron will not do a whole lot for them. I'd like to see them just advance into the bot lane jungle, completely own the vision there, and then slowly poke their heads in to the enemy base and try to get the 3rd inhibitor, group up with the minion waves in the other lanes, and then just brute force your way to victory. Shouldn't be that hard to play. No way takes the snack dragon on the way. A little bit of movement speed can never go wrong with the Cloud Drake. And they activate another win condition with the Elder Dragon as well. So 3 elemental Elder Dragon is no slouch either. If the game extends, of course, they lose another team fight. They now have the Elder Dragon win condition as well. So good choice to just take the free and on the way dragon anyway. 4 minutes, as you can see, until Elder spawns. It's 3 minutes until the next Baron spawns. And EVOS really wants to use the 3 minutes before Baron spawns to get the last inhibitor. Then maybe try to regroup, go for both big objectives while there's triple inhibitor threat. And as you can see, QG immediately engages because they want to not have that happen, and first kill comes down on the Nico, way overextended this time on the one side. Hero goes down into his GA, should be a very easy target. Still not dead, and But1 actually dangerously low, so QG defense against this push once again. They have to go back into the base to defend against the super minions that are already absolutely murdering the turrets. They might lose one turret anyway, and they lose the third inhibitor anyway, so in the end, even though they found a good pick on Dia 1 and on a 5v4 situation on the map, they still lose all the objectives, and EVOS very assertively entered the base and tried to look for the last Nexus turret. Right now it's a little bit too risky to go for the Nexus turret, no minion wave, but now double super minions in all 3 waves will hit the base in 1 more minute, and especially bot lane and top lane needs a little bit more time. Double supers are already coming in the mid lane. They used the time to reset, and we don't have a Baron timer sadly, but it should be there in a little bit more than a minute. So the next minute is a little bit weird for EVOS. They secured everything they could secure. There are 2 options basically. They could just try to wait for a good timing in terms of minion waves, where the minion waves are at, and just brute force their way into the enemy base. Hard force a fight. Even if you lose the fight slightly, you can probably still end with the super minions in your back pocket. So that's a good option. Otherwise, they could just wait for 1 more minute and go for the next Baron. But as I said before, Baron is not actually doing that much. It's a good stat boost, but they've already secured all the inhibitors, so they don't really need Baron anymore. And now Genza gets caught out. This should be the end of the game. Genza is dead. The shutdown comes in, but now QG, Hero, and Jisoo here. They try to go on top of Tier 1, and they get 1 kill back on the Lux. Tier 1 is free as well. Look at the Ezreal though. Ezreal in the enemy base. That's why I said force the fights. There's no way they lose the map situation. And now on top of the Nexus, this should be the game 1 victory. Flash from Hero, but he's not in time to defend this one. First game goes over to EVOS after a cute little backdoor. Very good play from the other members of EVOS to deceive the rest of QG and lure them into the fight in the top lane. A little bit of a scrappy game 1. QG very disappointing on the calls. Usually they are very well coordinated team. They show us very good mid games, and this game they got caught over and over again. Especially Jisoo and Zodiac did not impress me on Lucian Yuumi. Their laning phase was fine, but yeah, it didn't really look too great afterwards. Olaf did absolutely nothing. Genza was fine on his Corki in my opinion. Still got caught a few times, and Hero was there, but didn't have the biggest of game impacts. EVOS with a stronger performance compared to this series against DBL. Very good, assertive and decisive calls to start the team fights. I really liked their constant fishing for skill shots and CC skill shots to land. And whenever the CC skill shots landed, they immediately went all in on the fight. That netted them a big advantage in the mid game. Nicely executed game out of EVOS. They go 1-0 up over QG. If they are able to close this one out, they will look okay coming into the next weeks with their playoff chances still alive. I have to say, theoretically, QG is not out of playoffs if they lose this one. They are on 4 series victories, and as I said earlier on, the 4 top teams right now are sitting at 7-3, but they would need a top team to lose all 4 games, which, looking at the schedule, is actually possible. It's not likely, but it's possible that especially Loki loses all the 4 series. So even if QG loses today, they are still kind of in the playoff race, but it will be very difficult, especially as they are not only fighting against the top 4 teams, but also against EVOS, who will then only head-to-head and have a game advantage as well over them. So QG still really needs this one, and they can come back. We have seen them fight back in best of 3s. First game was not the best game ever from QG, but maybe they are able to regroup, to go back to the drawing board and come up with a better approach to the game. Olaf, yeah, drop the Olaf, in my opinion. Don't go for another Olaf game. That was a little bit of a weird choice, especially with non-priority lanes in top and mid. Only bot lane really had a little bit of priority, but even then not enough to really warrant the constant Olaf invade. He wants to play in your face, he wants to perma invade the Sejuani, look for maybe even solo kills on the Sejuani. He was not able to do anything of that, so not the greatest Olaf game for Seal. In terms of MVP for the first game, it's actually not that easy to decide in my opinion. I'm leaning towards Dia1 for his great flash ults. I think his late game impact fell a little bit off. He was caught a few times, but he had a 504 score before. I'd say Zorn is a close contender with a very good Sejuani game. But yeah, my vote goes over to Dia1, locking down his third MVP on our stream. And I'll be back in 5 minutes with game 2. Catching my breath for 5 minutes. See you in 5.
I see the light inside you, brighter than the sky.
Welcome back for game 2. Sadly, still not joined by Everyday. He seems to have big problems today. I'm very sorry. Maybe he'll be there for the next series. I'm sorry. But right now, you'll have to listen to his solo cast. I'm sorry about that. I'll try my best to bring you the action anyway. And there are no players on stage on one side, which is a little bit concerning. What's going on their side? Okay. EVOS is re-entering the room, and we should go into the second champion select in just a few minutes. This was a little bit of a disappointing one for QG, in my opinion. QG is another VCS team that shows glimpses of hope. I think they show very good mid games most of the time. And I like to watch them because they have a lot of potential. But on the other side, it's a little bit frustrating to follow them because on other times, they just give up everything in the game and roll over and die like they did in game 1. Not the greatest showing for especially Jisoo and Zodiac. I also thought Seal did nothing, as I said, after the first game ended. So they have to change up a lot. Divkit is subbed in No Way's out. We've not seen Divkit in a while. No Way actually has been the starting ADC for the last week and a half. So this is a little bit surprising. I'm not quite sure why they would make this move. To be fair, oh wow, this is another very interesting one. I'll talk about a little bit later. But yeah, first div kit for No Way. No Way definitely didn't have the best game in game 1. He got caught a lot with the Ezreal. That should not happen. I don't think he was horribly bad or anything. They lost lane, but that's fair against Lucian Yumi. So a little bit of an interesting choice. We'll have to see what DivKit brings to the table in this game. On the other side, we have Neven subbing in for Hero. And that's an interesting substitution because Neven obviously was the top laner in the start of the season. They played him in their promotion series. He was the top laner we anticipated to see. Then he got absolutely wrecked by Razor in the first series of the season on Quinn. He played his Quinn in the top lane against Aatrox, got solo killed 5 times. The whole game was over at that point, and from there on, we saw Hero be the first top lane of the team. We had one series when Neven was subbed in as jungler mainly, and then in the last game he played top lane once again. So it's not super surprising to see him back in, especially after Hero has struggled this week a whole lot. He played horribly bad in the first series, and the first game today did not look that much better. So why not sub in Neven? You need the victory here. I'm a little bit skeptical if Neven can bring QG the winning ways, but yeah, Hero has not played great this week, so you might as well try. You need this win right now, right here. And we are into Champion Select. High is still in, so now Divkit High. This is another interesting adaptation, because usually with bot laners, we see whole duos being swapped in and out. Not so much in the VCS, interestingly enough. So Divkit now paired with High. We've never seen this duo play on stage. Let's see what they can bring. I think High had an okay debut game. He had a few mistakes on the Lux. But overall, definitely not the worst showing ever in terms of support play. And we might get to see another good Lux game from EVOS. Zodiac has not played too many Lux games. He's much more of the Yumi player. 4 times on the Yumi, now 5 times. So his most played champ all season is the Yumi, in fact. Lux only picked 2 times for him. Not sure if QTV would be willing to first pick the Lux. I actually don't think so. So might be a very easy way to get Lux on high once again, give him comfort for 2 games in a row, and a strong bot lane. Oh, there she is on QG's ban list. That's an interesting adaptation. So my assumption that they don't want to first pick the Lux on the side of QG was quite correct, it seems. Instead, they ban it out. Good adaptation as well. I like this approach. Force high on another champion, see what he can bring to the table in the next game. And QG are eyeing Maybe a J4 first pick for Seal. Oh, the Callista being banned against Jisoo. An interesting one. Probably the only ADC in the VCS that will receive Callista bans. He's a little bit of a Callista main. And right now, this looks like a Yuumi draft. So Yuumi first picked for Zodiac once again on his favorite most played champ here. 6th game on Yuumi. And this might just be another Lucian Yuumi for the side of QG. We'll have to see if DivKid wants to play the Lucian as into the Yuumi. They could pick it away. To be fair, QG's Lucian Yuumi in game 1 was not that effective. And Zaya Rakan might come in as an answer. Definitely playable into Lucian Yuumi. Is not as bad as in some other matchups. Don't have to pick the Rakan right now. So Zaya and maybe an Aatrox, maybe a J4. Maybe Gragas for Zorn as well. Some of the options right now. They could pick Gragas here to threaten the Gragas Yasuo as well. Instead, just going with the Zaya Rakan, holding their options, wanting to scout out a little bit more of the QG draft. I expect Lucian and J4 right now for QG. Don't give away the solo lanes. They could also go for Lucian Renekton, maybe, to secure a strong top lane matchup already. It's actually a Sivir. This is surprising. So more late game scaling into the Zaya Rakan. They don't trust into their bot lane to dominate against Zaya Rakan. So this is just a handshake lane and scaling very well into the later stages of the game. They will have a significant disadvantage in terms of roaming though. The Zaya will probably be able to hold the wave after a few levels, and then Rakan can go roaming. So this is a little bit dangerous. J4, as predicted, comes in as the jungler for QTV. Now EVOS, locking in Zorn's specialty. This is a risky one. The Nidalee, I like this Nidalee pick in this place, because they know that the enemy team has in the bot lane that can't really move, so they can definitely focus on top side, group up with the Rakan in the mid lane and look for early invades and early dives, using the power of Zorn's Nidalee. Zorn Nidalee is a very interesting case, because it was his most played champ in Spring, and he definitely brings a little bit of his own flair to the champ. Usually we see Nidalee go for very fast clears, try to avoid any contact with other players. He usually tries to gank a lot. He's not that much about the power farming. It's still obviously the preferred playstyle, as we see Kled ban on 913. I think EVOS has played too much on the new champ. Kled is not really an option on 913. I guess they are still scared of him. Sometimes when we see the live patch bringing a strong champ into play, the leagues that play one patch behind still are afraid of that champ, because he's actually still kind of strong in the old patch as well, and now everyone has practice on the champ, so I can kind of understand Kled. Kled is an annoying champion to deal with, and maybe it's an even specialty as well, we don't know. So Kled and Camille banned against the top laner. Camille, usually a champ for DR1, so it's a little bit of a curious ban. They like to pair it with Sejuani, obviously, for the Camille Sejuani mid lane synergy, and instead it will be another game on the Nico. Rice and Irelia hit the ban list, so 2 bans probably pointed at DR1. I'm sure but one can play Irelia as well. He has not shown her so far, but as a professional top laner, it's very probable that he has played the Irelia before. Karma's still open, actually very low priority in this draft. And this one will be a Jisoo focused draft already for QTV. I'd like to see them round out their comp with maybe an Aatrox, bring a little bit more flank potential, a little bit more damage into the team fights. We are now banking on, yeah, there he is, the Aatrox. I like this champ a lot in this composition. I think he's a very good option. So now we are looking at this very strong late game draft for QTV with a little bit of mid game already as well. Especially if the Sivir goes for the early 2 big ticket crit items, they might be able to play around the mid game teamfights already. Usually Sivir spikes a little bit later compared to the Zaya. Now with the Azir lock. triple AP topside, so that's already something I absolutely despise. EVOS's draft is not great. I think QG has absolutely dominated this draft and hard won the compositional war. I I really don't understand this Azir last pick. I thought it would be another Nico mid lane and then try to counter the. I mean, Renekton was open, right? Just go Renekton again into the Aatrox. It worked last game. Why would it not work this game? So I really hope this is an AD Nico, or on-hit Nico, I should say, because if this is AP Nico, EVOS's team comp is hot garbage. They have Nidalee and double AP solo laners, so the Nidalee will not deal any damage in the mid game, and she already falls off as a champ naturally. She doesn't do any magic damage because everyone has built up a little bit of MR, and she's even more useless. We have even seen Aatrox adapt their build path and go for first item full completed Maw of Mortis. If he goes for that one here, no one will be able to touch him. So this is pretty much on QG to just read the team comp and play according to the win condition of just building MR. EVOS has completely drafted themselves into a corner. The Nidalee pick looked okay, but with the rest of the composition right now, the Nidalee pick looks absolutely worthless. I not sure what they wanted to accomplish with this draft. They still have the Zyra Khan, so strong mid and late game engaging and teamfight potential from one of the strongest ADCs. They still have Azir, a lot of late game damage. I hope they have AD Nico. Let's see. We'll get into game soon. So their team comp is. It can do stuff, but it's very squishy. And it is the AD Nico, so at least that part is a little bit stronger than Sorn on the Dark Harvest. We've seen, I think all the Nidalees have played Dark Harvest so far. It seems to be flavor of the month here in Vietnam in terms of AP junglers. They like to go for Dark Harvest a lot. We saw Gragas on Dark Harvest just 2 days ago. And now Dark Harvest on Nidalee. This top lane matchup is intriguing. Neven has not gone for the Kleptomancy, which we see sometimes, especially in melee matchups, obviously, because in ranged matchups it's way harder to proc. Instead, he goes for the safest and most consistent rune choice in the Airy. Good for late game teamfighting as well, because of the extra shield on your ADC. So I'm absolutely fine with that rune choice. Not quite sure how the matchup plays out. I'd say but one probably loses early priority because there's more wave clear on the side of Neven. I'm not quite sure if he ever gets to a stage where he can challenge or threaten the 1v1 kill, actually. It's not the easiest. They want to side lane Nico into Aatrox later in the game. Karma will probably sit mid lane and just clear waves. She doesn't really want to side lane either. She definitely can side lane though. Look at the early trades in the bot lane going horribly wrong for EVOS. It's very hard to play this Zyra Khan lane into Yuumi, because usually Zyra Khan profits a lot from zoning. They have a lot of zoning tools in the Xayah Blade Caller, setting up the feathers, and also the Rakan W. So a lot of space that is not really that is in their favor or set up in their favor. Enemies can't enter particular spaces in the lane, so that's usually the advantage Xayah Rakan holds, and double buff on the Xayah W going over to the Rakan as well, a lot of extra damage. But against Yuumi, there's only one target to play around, and that one target has a spell shield, obviously not relevant on level 1. Ooh, this one will be dangerous. Seal does not hit his EQ, and red buff on Div Kit will only force him out of lane, so no flash force, no heal force either. First gank does not really succeed for QG. I'm not sure. Seal could have extended the EQ with a flash to force a flash for flash trade. Interesting that he did not want to go for that trade, because he probably wants to have his flash available to catch out Sorn later on. What did Sorn just do? That looked a little bit weird. I guess he speared Seal. And now Thorn is in a little bit of trouble because he will lose this Scuttle Crab. Already had 8 CS though, so overall still went for the power farming route. And this will be a little bit of an early fight. Thorn has a smite available. He's still in the vicinity, so he looks to steal away the Scuttle Crab. He's not content just giving this one up. But there's bot lane control, so in the end he still has to give it up. Yumi grouping up with Seal, because his ADC is freed up to just 1v2 in the lane, will in the end mean that not Rakan, I'm sorry, J4 gets the Scuttle Crab over Nidalee, which is a little bit of a bad sign. And Seal, with an interesting adaptation in terms of jungle pathing, goes straight into the opposite side Scuttle Crab, will lose his bot side camp. So this one is a lot of utility involved, a lot of gold obviously on the Scuttle Crab and experience as well. He will hit level 4, but now with the path towards top lane, I don't think there's a whole lot of an opportunity to kill but one. He's in a very safe position right now. Nico is very hard to gank in the first place. So he goes back to farming. Interesting adaptation out of Seal. As Zorn comes in and Jisoo has to flash away. Zorn is still here and they want to get the kill anyway. This one will go over to Zorn. Nicely executed, but now Genza and Neven are here. So High in a lot of trouble. Neven tries to go for the kill on Divkit, but he's still... No, he does not have his flash available. He actually used the flash aggressively. Offensively, I should say. But in the end, it's a 1-for-1 trade with double TP invested from QG. So it's still a good trade for EVOS. As their solo laners get free resets right now, and even the bot lane has a pretty good reset as the enemy wave is pushed into the turret. So it will naturally push out and stabilize in the middle of the lane for EVOS' bot lane. But look at the gold lead, and not the gold lead, the CS lead in the bot lane. This has gone pretty badly for the side of EVOS. Sai just wanders into the lane, gives away the gank, but it doesn't matter because Zorn is in a very good position here. And now look at how Zorn gets this kill. Jisoo tried to step out. That was not the right call. I think he was dead anyway, so not the biggest mistake there. Neven actually on very low mana, so he can't continue the chase. Because there's no spell available and no mana to cast the spell anyway. Not sure if the teleport from Neven was necessary. They could have probably just gotten the counter kill with just the teleport from Genza. A little bit of a waste of teleports. And now a big teleport advantage for EVOS. So the next play in the bot lane will be answered by but one's teleport. It's PTA Nico, so not the most impactful teleport user either. It's still better than no one. So you see the trades in the top lane go heavily in favor of Neven. It's Karma. But he's still losing in terms of CS. He teleported away, so there was more time for Bud. A flash ult from Bud to enable the gank from Zorn. But Neven does not even have to flash. He's fast enough on the Karma, so now flash advantage for free over to Neven in the top lane. You hate to see it on the side of Bud. Maybe a little bit overzealous. The ult is pretty slow on the animation part. So in the end, just wasting his teleport, not teleport, his flash, and he'll now go back to the top lane. There's Xayah on the minimap, which confused me a lot, but it's obviously just the Nico clone, as the real Xayah is down bot. And there's a big problem now emerging for EVOS' bot lane, as Sivir is far ahead in this matchup, 25 CS. I was not aware that this is this hard a counter matchup. Maybe it's a little bit of player skill for Jisoo and Zodiac as well. I anticipated this lane to go in the favor of QG, but not by 20 or 30 CS at 8 minutes. That's a little bit much. Now hitting 70 at 8 minutes compared to the 41 on the side of Xayah. Xayah has completely surrendered the lane. If you look at her items, going for the kill just to farm out, get a little bit more gold in the mid game. And this is a big pressure point for QG. They could look for dives. It's a little bit dangerous into Rakan. But he's not level 6 yet, so now is actually the best possible time to look for a dive, especially as the Yuumi will hit level 6 with this wave, probably. So Yuumi ult, J4 ult, and Sivir ult to dive the Rakan on level 4. That should be a very, very easy play. But sadly, the J4 is not interested at all, as he's just recalling inside his top side jungle. So there's still about 2 minutes time until Rakan will be able to hit level 6. So there's at least one more wave crashing into the turret J4 can use to dive the bot lane. It's a pretty straightforward play, and now Sorn is here to counteract. Clears out the vision, sets up a little bit of vision himself, so very good coverage from the junglers of EVOS. I think the play is still possible. It has gotten a little bit harder now. Rakan is still level 4, and Divkit is still only level 5 as well. While Jisoo has hit level 7, Zodiac is 6. They can even look for 2v2 kills in my opinion. It's a huge advantage. Now with Divkit level 6 it's way harder because he has his ult available. But still, this bot lane is in a very bad position for EVOS. Look at the CS disadvantage, it's almost at 40 now. Still no Essence Reaver secured, and now Seal comes in just to annoy Divkit. Used a lot of his time to just cancel the recall, so this is a play to get at least one plating on the side of QG. He assists the bot lane, but in a way that we did not anticipate. As the play happens, top even gets caught, and he should go down. Sorn with another successful gank. I talked about him being more of the gank initially, and once again that holds true, even though he still had 22 CS over Seal. So absolutely winning in the gank and the CS department right now. Skenzer has come to the top lane to collect a few more minions. We'll go back to mid lane immediately. And we see many turret platings fall down bot. I think it will probably be 3 turret platings in total going over to the bot lane of QG, accelerating this matchup even more. And QG's comp is very focused around the Sivir, so getting her an early lead is very good for them. There it is, 3 platings have gone down. Might even get another plating. Rakan is still not level 6. High is absolutely useless in this matchup. I talked on Champion Select about Rakan being able to roam, because Xayah will be able to hold the wave. That has not been true in this game. They've hard lost the early game, so Rakan can never even think about roaming, especially because he's not level 6. He's now finally hitting level 6. And an interesting little camp here from Seal. Will he try to go for the fight? Definitely will. And there the fight is, but Seal gets caught out, and now he is in a very bad position. Stopwatch to delay the fight, but Bud1 is here, and this will be, re-engage from Seal to avoid the ult. Very nicely done, and Bud1 will go down. There's a lot of chaos, 2 for 2 so far. Jisoo gets out, has to flash away. Dia1 tries to go on top of him, and Azir gets the kill. Now very easy kill on Zodiac, on the Yuumi as well. So in the end, it's a big win for EVOS, as we see a turret dive backfire horribly for QG. EVOS once again gets the early skirmish advantage, just as they did in game 1. I think the call over was fine for QG, the overcommitment in the end. They should have probably backed off after the TPs came in for EVOS side. They tried to go for the fight anyway, and we see this one again. So I like the beginning of the fight. The Yuumi ult came in right now, just back off. You should not continue the fight. Seal stopwatch was very ill-advised. I think the stopwatch single-handedly prolonged the fight. First kill goes over to Sorn. Now a lot of AoE damage actually on QG's favor, but Jisoo is out of the fight, and he's the strongest member on the map. Genza tries to do something, as another fight goes over to EVOS. Bud1 secures this one. Jisoo's here. Will Bud1 get another kill on Seal? Definitely looks the way. Double kill for the AD split push threat on EVOS' side. This has gone horribly wrong in the last few minutes. 8-3 in kills after nothing happened in the early game really, and now a 3k gold lead. Even the bot lane will collect a few platings. There's still 1 minute on the plating timer. And this is very fortunate for the bot lane, as they finally get a little bit of gold induced. They've not been able to get any kills in the bot lane skirmish, but at least 5 assists went over to them. And now 3 platings possibly as well to the bot lane. A lot of time for High to get his stacks on the support item. That's actually very important, because we're at 14 minutes and still no completed support item. Look at the gold total. Only now scratching at 3k gold for High. And he still can't ward. That's actually pretty bad for his team. No vision control from the support, because he does not have any gold to finish the support item. Jisoo with a very good usage on the spell shield. Ult from Yuumi to deter the engage. And now ult traded for ult on the side of the supports. Should give the lane control over to QG once more. 2 platings have fallen, so no further platings to collect. The 2v2 is still going QG's way, but everything else on the map is looking very, very bad for them. 3-0 Azir. We never get to see an early accelerated Azir almost, because most of the time he falls behind and then just farms it out for the late game. And this one will be very strong. Went for the probably strongest 1 item power spike build on the... I mean, he's the electrocute, so maybe it's not the strongest, but a lot of poke definitely coming in with Luden's Echo on first turret, going over to Bud 1. He is feeling himself this game. This is what every split push Nico dreams of, getting early kills, getting an early advantage in the 1v1, and now there's nothing Neven can do anymore. Gank on DR1. He shuffles away. Well, this was actually well played from DR1. He tanked 1 more turret shot, but read the situation perfectly, as he used the ult to disengage and then used his shuffle to get away from the fight even further. Very nicely done. Good coverage from Thorn and Bud1 as well. And they secure another turret. 5k gold lead at 50 minutes. This has gone downhill really quickly. And QG is looking super dire in this game. Another turret going down. We might see a 20-minute victory. There's not a whole lot that can stop EVOS right now. They have Azir, one of the strongest sieging champions. They have a very strong Nidalee, another strong sieger. And then Bud1 on the Nico can just push waves forever. Life still secured for her. Still no item completed though. Might be able to go back after this wave and finish her first item as well. So there's no way Genzer can fight against her in the side lane. I think Neven is probably still able to just clear waves. Look at this one again, very nicely done. No damage came down on DR1 because he used his ult in the perfect time to deny Aatrox's Q. I think it was the 3rd Q, or at least it was. There would have been a big crit from the Aatrox. I'm not quite sure if it was the 3rd Q. Did not catch that fast enough, but would have been a lot of damage from the Aatrox. Perfect timing on the ult. He tanked 1 turret shot, but compared to the Aatrox Q, the turret shot felt like a little bit of a tickling. So nicely played by D1. Doesn't get caught out. Does not even have to use flash. And now 2 turrets secured in the mid lane. The mid lane inhibitor turret is even heavily wounded now. And EVOS has accelerated this game from what looked like a 2k gold lead after the 1 fight, or a 3k gold lead, into a 6k gold lead in absolutely no time, playing the map very efficiently and securing many, many towers. Now look at the Azir's items. This is a very strong mid-game Azir. Level 13, 2 AP items, attack speed and penetration already secured. They can't deal with them in teamfights right now. There's no way they can outdamage this Azir. Especially as Sivir is still only sitting on 1 item. She's the strongest member on the team. Maybe Aatrox right now is a little bit stronger, so I take that back, but there's no way they can teamfight right now. Don't really understand Morelos for Thorn. I mean, it's good against Yuumi. It's okay. It's good against Aatrox as well, but it's an okay item right now to build for Thorn. I'd like to see a Sheen instead. Don't finish the don't upgrade the Oblivion Orb, instead go for Sheen for better pushing power. I think that would have been the better choice compared to the Moroninomicon. But I guess it's okay, looking at the healing on the enemy team. And what can QG really do to get back into this game? They have to hope for a big blunder from EVOS. Maybe try to catch out Zorn. That's probably the first step, because Zorn is the most likely member on the side of EVOS to overextend into the enemy jungle, and is decently easy to catch. He's still super fast. It doesn't really seem like Zorn wants to solo invade right now. He just groups up with Spud1, and they will get a lot of damage on Genza. Genza looks pretty dead, but there's a TP to save him. Jisoo and Neven actually TP'd down. What is going on with QG investing multiple TPs? They have thrown their TPs around in this game like it's nothing. Now double TP timer on Jisoo and Neven. Not able to react to plays anymore. And now Neven in a little bit of trouble. Hai is still lurking around on the top side. And another turret goes down for EVOS. 5 turrets secured. I've never seen turrets fall this quickly. It's insane. They don't have any real objective that helps them at pushing. And this is dangerous. He could actually 1v2 maybe. If he plays this well. Yeah, look at the damage. Dia1 is super dangerous. Look at the damage from the Azir. Almost 1v2'd, and now the TP advantage comes in handy. They invested all TP spot, so now EVOS Spud1 is free to invest his TP to save his mid laner. To be fair, I don't think he needed much saving there. Almost 1v2'd anyway. And this game is over. I really can't see QG winning this game anymore. But hold the thought, as Spud1 is just going down. A little bit of an overextension. And the gold goes over to Sivir, so the best possible target. If she gets her Infinity Edge, there's a very, very slight hope for QG. Look at all the items coming through for EVOS. 2 items secured for Bud, 2 items, and the next one is already worked on for Zorn. 2.5 items from Dia. No items for Glyphkid, because he's behind, but it doesn't really matter. He brings a little bit of utility anyway. And the Rakan is not sitting on a big item timer either, but he's Rakan. He still has boots secured and can go for engages. Will EVOS try to raise Baron? I think they should probably not. At least not until they secure the next dragon, because that is a very good opportunity to transition a very strong dragon into Baron. They can go mountain dragon into Baron, I should say, almost immediately. Especially with double ADC in their composition. Baron should melt. Double ADC and Azir. That's one of the strongest Baron compositions you can ever hope for. They actually immediately go for the Baron without even waiting for the Mountain Drake. And it's a 2-man Baron. Interesting one to start. They want to lure the enemies into thinking that they just reset there. But Seal sniffs something out. And now, ooh, this is actually dangerous. Seal is here. Baron at 4k gets re-aggroed, and now they have to be careful that the Baron does not go over to QG, but look at the damage on Seal, immediately goes down, Jesus court. They still have an overwhelmingly big gold advantage, slapping them with their wallets, and now 4 members on the Baron, so this one will just melt instantly. There's still Genzer and Neven. Neven has a lot of AoE damage, and Nico is actually in the bot lane, not even there. Neven will get caught, and once again the Baron is released, so Baron goes back to full HP. They will not be able to get the Baron, but at least they get the inhibitor anyway in the bot lane, so in the end it does not really matter that they can't secure the Baron, because they got what they came for. It's not the inhibitor, it's only the turret, but next push will be the inhibitor. And now Mountain Drake is available. They are actually just on the Baron again. Why is Xayah not helping with the Baron damage? That was a little bit silly. And once again, there's a contest from QG. Seal has respawned, but this time the Baron will just go down. This time secured. Ooh, very bad smite, but Genza will down anyway. Free 2-for-1 special with Zodiac going down as well. So now Baron over to EVOS. Look at the gold lead, 12k at 23 minutes. This will definitely boost both of these teams' win time average, as this game will probably end in the next 3-4 minutes with an overwhelming advantage for EVOS. They have the stronger 5v5 team anyway, if Sivir is not ahead, that is. And she definitely is not ahead. Now even behind compared to Divkit in items after this game had an overwhelming advantage for EVOS's for QG's bot lane, I should say. EVOS bot lane was struggling a lot in the early game, but it doesn't really matter because Tier 1, Sorn, and Bud 1 are carrying them. And now, finally, the gold has trickled down, and even the Zarya has a 500 gold shutdown right now. Oh no. Almost steals away the Gromp. At least Seal gets a Gromp, but he will pay for his sins. Oh, he misses the Q on top of that. Sorn will just shut him down. 220 gold over to him. Seal is dead. Sorn is super strong. And now the 3-lane push comes in. Tier 1. Very defensive there. Could have probably just turned and killed the Aatrox looking at his items. But he does not have to risk it as his team is already pushing down the top lane. There was someone in the bot lane as well. Tier 1 once again gets engaged on from Genza and his cat. In the meantime, EVOS has killed the first inhibitor of the game. And now engaged on Neven. He just exploded there. As we see another fight, Seal instantly explodes as well. Tier 1 has now finally regrouped with the team, has pushed in the mid lane wave, so this is another free inhibitor. 25 minutes into the game. It looks like it will end in the next minute. Oh, look at the damage from Sorn. This has been an insane performance from Sorn and the Nidalee. He has a very different playstyle than Nidalee. He definitely does not look like DNK. As we see some more kills, it looks a little like padding the stats. And Sorn shows us his Nidalee. Once again, a great performance from him. He is a very good Nidalee player. And yeah, EVOS very convincingly beat QG 2-0. A lot more convincing than I would have anticipated. EVOS is a little bit of a weird team. I don't quite understand why they are sometimes playing like they should be a top 3, top 4 team. Sometimes losing to the most ridiculous teams ever. I still think they should have won against DBL. And imagine that they would have tied DBL for 4th place and would have challenged DBL for the playoff race. That would have been very dangerous for the spring split champions. But now only going to 5-5. It's a good step in the right direction. They will play some top teams in the next week. I think Loki's on their schedule. Let me check. Oh, we actually don't have the schedule for week 6 yet, but we can check using the schedule for the first round robin. So EVOS played against QG, and the next series was against Flash. A very close one. They lost 1 and 2. So next week will be EVOS against Flash and EVOS against Loki. 2 very, very important series. They probably have to go 2-0 to contest players. It's against 2 direct enemies for the playoff race. So there's definitely a chance. It's in their hands. They are 2 games behind. But if they play like they did today, they can absolutely do it. Especially looking at Loki falling off a little bit in the last few weeks. They might be able to overtake Loki, or maybe even DBL. Because DBL has not looked too great in the last few weeks either. That being said, they might have another top laner now instead of Rezo, who can up the level for the team. Where we should focus on this particular series. I have to decide on an MVP. It's very hard for the second game. The game-breaking moment definitely was the bot lane skirmish. Who performed well in the skirmish? Was it pretty much a mistake from QG? I'm not sure if any one of the players outperformed anyone on the other side. I think Sorn is the front runner for MVP, definitely, with his Nidalee performance. You always want to give it over to the Nidalee player if he wins the game, because she's such a volatile champ. It's such a risk to pick her up. I think Dia1 needs to be shouted out as well. He had a great performance on the Azir. One of the more hype Azir performances, in my opinion, because he looked very good on the champ and contributed a lot to the victory. Had a very good push in the mid lane. I think I'll lock it down for Sorn. but it's a very close one. And so on, hitting his 6th MVP on the screen, on the stream. Why am I always saying screen? I'm sorry. It's stream, obviously. So now, tying up with Artifact. Oh no, Artifact is actually sitting at 7. Wow. So, behind Artifact, tying up with Big Koro and also with Yijin. Those two are sitting at 6 as well. QG falls down once again. 0-2 to EVOS is now 0-4 in the summer split. One of the teams they've struggled the most against, interestingly enough. And EVOS can go back to their gaming house and work out a strategy to contest players 2 series behind the top 4 teams, but it's in their hands. Looking ahead to the next series, we'll have a pretty long break, around 1 hour and 20 minutes. And then the second series, the last series of the week, will be Cerberus fighting against GAM. Should be a very, very easy victory for GAM. We saw a pretty easy 2-0 for EVOS. Not sure if GAM can win quite as convincingly, but usually GAM looks very strong. It's very fun to see GAM games, so come back in 1 hour and 20 minutes to watch a little bit of GAM to close out the week and see if GAM can tie all the other top teams at 7-3, and we go into week 6 with standings of 4 teams tied for first place. That would be very hype. I think GAM definitely is the heavy favorite to coming into today's series. They have lost the fewest games in the whole league, sitting at only 7 losses if you look at the game score. And after week 1, they definitely have been the best team. So Cerberus should definitely be no problem for them. We'll have to see if Zeros plays today or if Yoshino comes in once again. And I sign off for now. See you in an hour and a bit. Thank you all for joining. And if you missed the game and want to watch it, I'll upload it in the next hour to the YouTube channel. You can find the link in the description of the channel. See you guys in a little bit more than an hour.